everyone, Vega here. Today, let's look at Alpha Centauri. Is it really that far away from us? I'm going to look at it in a sort of to scale map. So I'm going to try and give you an idea of exactly how far Alpha Centauri is from us. So first of all, let's have a look at the relative sizes. Sun being in between the sizes of Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B. A star. Sometimes people talk about Alpha Centauri as being a similar star to the Sun. It's actually quite a lot more powerful than the Sun. If you think of the Goldilocks zone where the water is possible in liquid form around the Sun, by the time you get to Mars, it's starting not to be really. Whereas Alpha Centauri A would clearly be a perfect system. If Mars was going around it, it would have liquid water if it could sustain it with enough atmosphere, of course. Even pushing out perhaps to the asteroid belt, I'd have to find that out. B is also a big star. It's not a small thing, but it's about 90% of the Sun. Again, if it was in our solar system at the centre, perhaps Venus might become more habitable. That's debatable, of course, because of Venus's thick atmosphere, but interesting anyway, nonetheless. Earth may become less habitable if it was around Alpha Centauri B, certainly a lot colder anyway. And then the little relative of the system is Proxima, a little red star. Obviously, we have clusters of the stars. The Sun and Alpha Centauri are classed as G-type. Alpha Centauri is a K-type. Proxima, as I was saying, is a small red dwarf star. These are known as M-type stars. Certainly, if Proxima was in the centre of our solar system, we would be pretty cold right about now. Even though Mercury would be freezing to death. So it's certainly not on the same scale as the other three stars here. So anyway, the purpose of this video is let's find out about the system, how far away. So first of all, we need to talk about A and B, which are really the two stars that are close to each other. They've got a minimum distance of 11.2 astronomical units, which is roughly the distance between here on Earth and Saturn, give or take a little bit. And that's the closest they've come to each other, and then the furthest away being 35.6, which is somewhere in between the orbits of Neptune and Pluto. So there's quite a bit of variation there. It's certainly not a circular orbit. You might ask yourself, if you can see this binary system from Earth, can you distinguish the two stars? Are they far enough apart, even at the distance they are, that you can distinguish them? And the answer is sort of. As you can see here, this is a picture taken with binoculars. With the naked eye, the system would look like this, just one star. Whereas with binoculars or a small telescope, you can distinguish between the two. So they're not so far away that you can't tell the difference between the two stars. And Proxima, out of interest as well, is here, this little red circle. I don't know if you can see that on the video. It's very faint and can't be seen without a quite powerful telescope. So what about Proxima? So we talked about A and B and how close they are to each other. Proxima is, remember, A and B were roughly 20 astronomical units on average. Well, Proxima is a lot further away. That's 13,000 astronomical units. So some debate if it's even part of the system. It's certainly not that close to AB. It's, as if you think of our solar system, Proxima to AB would be about 433 times further than the Sun is to Neptune. So it is a long way away from the central pairing. Let's have a look at the scale then. So imagine A and B. Let's make that one, a unit of one. So 20 astronomical units roughly being the unit of one here. If we were to draw to scale, this is the scale as always. 65 units later, we would be at Proxima. So you can imagine A and B going around each other in a slightly elliptical orbit, and Proxima going around and taking 550,000 years just to make one orbit. You can perhaps think of of Neptune of around 150 odd years to make one orbit to the Sun. Well, this is 550,000 years, so we won't be seeing many orbits of Proxima Centauri in our lifetime. In fact, in the entire history of the human species. So it does take a long time to go around. Anyway, let's make it a little bit more interesting, as always. 1 light year. So remember, Proxima was 13,000 light years from Alpha Centauri AB. So this is 1 light year is actually 63,000 astronomical units. So Proxima is about 0.2 of a light year away from A and B. You might think, well, how far actually is it away from the Sun then? If it's 4.244 light years away from the Sun, that makes 268,000 roughly astronomical units. So 1 astronomical unit being the Earth's distance to the Sun. So Proxima is 268,000 times further from us than the Sun is. Let's have a look again. So remember the initial diagram, we had A and B, that was 1 unit, 65 units further away to Proxima, that's the Alpha Centauri system. Now, let's make the A and B, this part of the graph, let's make that one now. So here's that part of the graph. We've got A and B and Proxima. Now, to get to the Sun, we'd have to go another 20 times further. So the distance between A and B and Proxima is 1. The distance to the Sun would be 20.6 times further. There you go, that's exactly to scale there. So again, Alpha Centauri A and B, then we do a little step to Proxima, and then quite a large leap, and then that's where we are at the Sun. So they're not actually that far away, relatively speaking. If you're talking about the system relative to itself, it's only between 20 and 21 times further to us. You might want to imagine this yourself as well. Imagine A and B are 1 millimeter apart, so you can think on the top of your fingernail, perhaps 1 millimeter distance. That's 20 astronomical units. Imagine. Look somewhere about 13.8 meters away, or 276,000 astronomical units. That's where the Sun would be. So, if the edge of your fingernail is 1 millimeter, somewhere 14 meters away is where we are. And interestingly, just imagine what it might be like on Earth if we were actually in the Alpha Centauri system. Imagine this is us on the Sun, this is a normal picture of us with the Sun. If we had a slightly larger star, obviously we'd be warmer, but I can't do that in the picture so easily. That's what Alpha Centauri A would look like. Imagine we were orbiting Alpha Centauri A. And then Alpha Centauri B, which would be about the distance of Saturn, would be somewhat smaller, perhaps. That's not to scale this one, but something like this. And lastly, you might find that interesting. If we were orbiting Alpha Centauri A, would Alpha Centauri B actually make our planet warmer? And the answer is yes, it would, in the same sense that the Sun makes Saturn warmer. So yeah, it gives us a little bit of extra heating but to be honest, I don't think we'd be needing it. If we had Alpha Centauri A as our star instead of the Sun, we'd probably be scorched. So probably not helping in this case. Proxima, on the other hand, you wouldn't even be able to see. It would just be a very faint star in the sky and wouldn't provide any heating at all. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to like and follow and click the bell notification if you want to see more videos. Thanks a lot. See you later.